Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is once again that time. You're listening to Engine Room, or you might be watching us on YouTube. Either way, we're really glad that you're here. My name's Dylan Love. I'm the managing editor of cryptocurrency investment research firm Token Metrics, and I am joined, just as I am every Monday, by Jacob Koch-Gallup, our market analyst intern. Jacob, good day to you, sir.
Yes, happy Monday. Glad to be
Happy Monday
here.
indeed.
Glad to be in crypto, as always.
It's another day in crypto, man. It's never a boring day. Why dilly-dally? Let's get right into it. We were
Yep.
talking before the recording that the Bitcoin situation in El Salvador is starting to go a little bit sideways. The citizens are protesting this Bitcoin adoption. And what's the date? September 7th?
September 7th is when the law will come into effect. And there has been many Salvadorans in the streets holding up signs saying that they don't want Bitcoin, they don't want crypto, they want to keep their fiat currencies, their cash. It's showing that, it seems like they're just very fearful of the new law, and there's a list of concerns. So obviously volatility and instability are at the top. There's also another huge concern of that Bitcoin would facilitate public corruption, the operation of drugs, arms, and human traffickers, extortionists, tax evaders, like all your everyone's first worry about cryptocurrency is that only drug dealers use it or only criminals use it. Let me share my screen real quick so I can show you the picture of them. So this is in El Salvador this past weekend. No al Bitcoin, no al lavado de dinero corrupto. They don't want to adopt corrupt money. That's what their sign's saying. They don't want Bitcoin. And as we talked in our last podcast, the president is saying this is the future of money. You're just not on the right side if you don't accept it. I think it's so interesting that there's actual people protesting in the street over Bitcoin, because usually you just hear some rich white man saying, oh, cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin has no value, etc. But never really see people taking to the streets to protest it.
We're going to talk about rich white men saying no to Bitcoin in a second, but I can't help but be reminded about what we talked about in our last podcast about how there is a documented connection between the El Salvadoran government and gang crime. If I'm remembering some of those details correctly, it's been documented in the press that representatives from the president's administration have actually met with criminals both in prison and outside of prison. So I'll be the first person to tell you you're wrong when you raise an argument that this is just about money laundering and corruption. But at the same time, it also is a little bit about money laundering and corruption.
Yeah.
In any case, there's no denying that El Salvador is an interesting case to be watching. And the fact that people are protesting in the streets against Bitcoin, it's all great information. Great information.
And if anything, that helps Bitcoin and crypto because it's further showing how real of a thing it is. It poses a threat. It scares people, which that may be a good thing.
Nothing like a protest to inject something into the public consciousness.
Exactly. But yeah, let's talk about rich white men not knowing anything about crypto and hating on it.
Yeah, bring it on.
So on Sunday, yesterday, August 29th, Bloomberg Wealth did an interview with John Paulson, who is a hedge fund billionaire, and he made a fortune in 2008 when he shorted the housing bubble. He said that he believes cryptocurrencies will eventually go bust. He said he wouldn't recommend them as an investment to anyone, and that there's a cryptocurrency bubble and that they will eventually prove to be worthless. What he says, quote, is, I would describe them as a limited supply of nothing. He says, so to the extent there's more demand than limited supply, the price goes up. To the extent that demand falls, the price goes down. Obviously, that's basic economics. Thank you, John Paulson. But he says this is what's important. There's no intrinsic value to any of the cryptocurrencies except that there's a limited amount. But when he says that, that makes it seem like to me that there is intrinsic value, because guess what paper US dollars have? Printed US cash, printed cash has non-limited amount. You can turn that printer on and print gazillion amount of dollars. So that is one more intrinsic value than cash. So if he's saying there's no intrinsic value, but this super important intrinsic value, then what's the disconnect here?
Yeah, it's clear that I mean, I'm going to speculate here that he feels personally slighted that he's missed out on this new rising, well, let's call it a tidal wave, the future of finance. This is a guy who probably was aware of what was going on and said, this is too new and cool for me. I don't want to buy in on $1,000 BTC or, $1,000 ETH, whatever it was. It seems bitter and resentful, and we have a number of a number of other rich white men we can point to who would argue with him about this. Yeah. Paul Tudor Jones is into crypto. Ray Dalio is into crypto. It's clear that there are a number of very smart people in a similar wealthy position as this guy who just aren't buying what he's putting out there.
Yeah, I think he's salty. He missed the boat. I think it's also important to note that obviously there is a lot more intrinsic value than just a limited amount. We have privacy, security. You can't change the blockchain once it's already created. You can send transactions to anywhere in the world. So, John Paulson, there actually is a lot of intrinsic value to cryptocurrency. I'm sorry you missed the boat, but hey, maybe it's not too late. You can still put some of that billions into Ethereum now, because that's undervalued and that's going up.
We should send this guy a Token Metrics subscription. I wonder. Anyway,
but we're charging him probably $1 billion a year for it. Because that's what it's worth to him.
Yeah, money is whatever we say it is, and the bottom line is that there's enough people who say that Bitcoin and Ethereum and all this other family of cryptocurrencies, there's enough people saying that this is worth money. That's what makes it money with value. So he's wrong. See ya.
I mean, any like basic economics, basic market function, something's worth what people will pay for it. So yes, he can say, well, the demand for crypto is going to go away. No one's going to want it. So it's going to be worth zero. You could say that same thing. You could say that about eggs. Everyone realizes that they don't want to eat chicken eggs, so they stop eating eggs, and eggs are worthless. So I think that eggs are going to eventually go bust. You could like that. You could say that about anything. Eggs have no utility. Okay, John Paulson. But I want to move on a little bit. Let's talk about Solana. Solana has been taking off. Right now, it's hit its all-time high at 106, 100, and right now it's sitting at $105. It's ranked number 8 in total market cap at around a $30 billion valuation. And I think one thing I think is important to note that we had Bill Noble, our senior technical analyst here at Token Metrics, when it was at 60, he was saying once it crosses 70, it's taking off. What did it do? Cross 70, it's now at 105. But why is Solana taking off? Well, we've seen that huge NFT boom. And how do you pay for NFTs? Either Ethereum, Solana, excuse me. And Ethereum, as we know, has crazy gas fees. It's super expensive. One huge advantage to Solana is practically zero transaction fees. I think it was 0.00025 of a dollar per transaction. That's like practically nothing.
Yeah, infinitesimal.
So it's the crazy buzz for NFTs, for DeFi right now. That's really just taking Solana off. People know what it's worth. They know its future impact. I mean, it's also cited as the Ethereum killer, just like Cardano has been called the Ethereum killer. I know we talked that there's more space in the crypto space for both Ethereum, Solana, Cardano. It doesn't need to be just one, but it's a competitor to the biggest and arguably the most valuable and most utility having crypto. So obviously it's going to be compared, and obviously it's going to do well if that's its comparison.
I have previously called summer 2021. We're going to remember this as the summer of NFTs. So it makes rather a lot of sense that Solana should be surging like crazy if they're able to make NFTs, if they're able to put NFTs on the blockchain for close to $0. Just makes all the sense in the world. Speaking of NFTs on the blockchain, we've got Ethereum, and I'm reading a little news story that says institutional demand for Ethereum is surging, and this is largely prompted by New York Digital Investment Group wanting to get their bones in while they can. Let's check out this little report from the block here. It says Bitcoin may be the top cryptocurrency by market cap, but demand for Ether, Ethereum's native crypto asset, is growing within the institutional investment world. This trend appears to be pushing some previously Bitcoin-focused investment firms to provide their clients with support for ETH. You only have to look at Coinbase's second quarter earnings, where they actually Coinbase users were trading significantly more Ethereum than they ever were Bitcoin. And one of my favorite questions to ask people, if you're ever watching the interview show on Token Metrics TV called Crypto Hot Seat, I love asking them, will Ethereum ever flip the price of Bitcoin? And if so, when? You get all kinds of different answers to that question. Some people say, absolutely yes, it's a certainty, it'll happen this year. Others will say, absolutely not, it's just a different animal completely. But the bottom line is that there's a growing institutional appetite. It's not even just about Ethereum, it's about crypto in general. First, it was all about Bitcoin. Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. How do they market Grayscale Bitcoin Trust? It's a way for you to get crypto exposure if you're afraid of crypto. If you just want to look in your Fidelity portfolio and see GBTC, oh, there's my Bitcoin that you don't actually have, by the way.
you don't actually
have.
Nope.
But it is a semi-legit way to gain that exposure in a fully compliant environment versus, just buying some crypto and storing it on a cold wallet somewhere. But after institutional demand for ETH, what comes next? I'm going to guess Cardano, and probably Solana not far after that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it's the utility. That's what everyone's after right now. At first it was just this crazy cool new concept of cryptocurrency. Bitcoin was the #1 leader, but now as investors are getting more educated, learning more about the space, it's becoming more mainstream. People are looking for utility. They want to be able to have smart contracts, have all this utility rather than just a store of value, which Bitcoin is starting to seem as. It's, yes, you can use it for transactions, but what's further than that? Not much. Ethereum, it has all this utility. Solana has utility, and that's what we're looking at for NFTs too. We don't just want a picture. We want a JPEG picture that has utility, that gives you access to a game, that provides you with some special airdrop or something. It can't just be a picture. It has to give you utility. And I think that's what the increasing demand for Ethereum is. I mean, I've talked to a bunch of other students at my school, and when we talk about crypto, they say, what's your #1 crypto? I'm like, Ethereum. And they're like, obviously. I think most people would agree with us, and most crypto players would say Ethereum's #1, and it's going to be there's not much disagreement on that.
It's Bitcoin if you could build an internet on top of Bitcoin. That's kind of how I think about Ethereum. It's pretty exciting stuff. It's been a long time coming to see old school establishment banks wake up to this. And as their eyes open wider and wider, I think that only is going to increase their appetite for crypto at large. So it's not about Bitcoin versus Ethereum. It's about crypto becoming the future of finance in the long term.
Exactly.
Well, I think we can put a point on things there. Thank you for listening to Engine Room. By way of reminding you guys, we are hiring cryptocurrency staff writers and cryptocurrency staff writer interns. If you like what we do, if you want to create content with us about the crypto markets, if you like what we're putting out there and you want to be involved, find Token Metrics on LinkedIn, apply to these jobs. And these aren't the only jobs available, by the way, but we are looking for some bright minds who can help us surf this wave into the future.
Yeah. And also make sure to check us out on any of your podcast platforms, whether that's Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Music. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to Token Metrics. We're super close to 100,000 subscribers, and make sure to hit like if you enjoyed the video.
Anyway, we'll see you next time on Engine Room. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, and happy trading out there.
Bye.